All right, let's unpack a seriously fascinating piece of short-form storytelling today. We're looking at a translated story script called The Legend of Herobrine the First Sign, featuring a player named Sahil. But listen, we aren't just reading a ghost story here. We are going to analyze the exact anatomy of digital tension. We'll explore exactly how this script crafts this irresistible sense of dread, and more importantly, how you can use these exact same mechanics to elevate your own storytelling.
So, how does a totally normal, peaceful Minecraft survival world descend into an inescapable nightmare in just 48 in-game hours? I am watching you. It's a chilling message, right? And it literally appears out of nowhere. To understand how we actually get to this terrifying moment, we've got to deconstruct the pacing. We have to look at how the author deliberately manipulates the players and, frankly, our sense of safety.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. A normal survival setup.
You know, every good horror story absolutely needs a baseline. In this script, Sahil starts a brand new survival world. He's gathering wood, building a simple house, just doing exactly what you or I would do on our very first day in the game. Night 1 is entirely focused on this completely, unapologetically normal setup. He spends his first night in relative peace, securing his newly built shelter, but then, Night 2 introduces the sudden arrival of the bizarre. And why is this so crucial? Well, establishing this foundation of absolute normalcy is a core storytelling mechanic. Think about it. If the weird stuff happened the exact second Sahil spawned in, it would just feel like a glitch or, a mod. By forcing us to watch a completely mundane first day, the script totally lulls us into a false sense of security. It creates this stark, jarring contrast with the impending dread of Night 2.
Then the sun goes down, and the tone fundamentally shifts. Section 2. The first sighting.
The safety of the daylight is completely gone now. If there was music, this is exactly where it would fade out. Something strange is definitely about to happen. Let's map out this pacing timeline. The narrative hits these specific, accelerating beats. Night 1, Night 2, Morning 2, Night 3. Escalating the frequency of these anomalies across these specific points in time, that acts as an absolute masterclass in short-form tension. The gaps between the weird events just keep getting shorter and shorter. The author literally doesn't give the player a single second to breathe, effectively tightening the psychological noose as the timeline progresses.
So on Night 2, we get our very first visual anomaly, a white-eyed figure on a distant mountain peak for just a few seconds before abruptly vanishing. And what's really brilliant about this moment is just the sheer subtlety of it. It's an initial tease, it's far away, it's super brief. It plants this tiny little seed of doubt in Sahil's mind. Actually, the script even specifically notes that Sahil thinks his eyes are just playing tricks on him. And as an audience, we lean in. We're sitting there asking ourselves, wait, did we just see that? It's honestly the perfect way to invite the viewer to start scanning the screen for danger.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next structural shift, Section 3, Environmental Anomalies.
The script doesn't just repeat that distant sighting, because, well, that would get boring pretty fast. Instead, it takes the threat from those distant, easily ignorable mountain peaks, and it drops it directly onto Sahil's front door the very next morning. He starts finding these impossible physical clues, a mysterious 2x2 hole right outside his house that he definitely didn't dig. A bit further into the forest, he finds trees entirely stripped of their leaves, but the bare wood trunks are left standing perfectly straight. Now, since no normal player could execute these actions, usually you break the wood and the leaves decay on their own, right? These details are deeply unsettling. By isolating these physical clues, the script forces us to linger on the eerie impossibility of the environment. The world itself has essentially been violated by an unknown presence.
At this point, the tension has been wound about as tight as it can possibly go. Let's move to Section 4, the final encounter. We've had the distant sighting, we've had the physical evidence. The sun is setting again, and the script is prepping us for the climax. The sequence of events here is incredibly deliberate. Nightfall brings a slow, terrifying sound, which prompts Sahil to step outside his safe shelter to investigate. But he finds absolutely no one there. The script deliberately isolates him outside his house. He's left his only shelter, and he has literally nothing but an ominous sound guiding him. This maximizes his vulnerability. He's totally exposed, looking out into the dark, and by extension, our anxiety goes through the roof, because we know for a fact something is out there.
And then, the silence is broken. Not by some monster jumping out, but by a simple notification. A chat message pops up, sent without any player name attached whatsoever. Who on earth sent the message?
I am watching you.
This sudden playerless chat message creates a massive, visceral impact. It completely shatters the fourth wall of the game's mechanics. In a single-player world, that chat box should be entirely empty. Seeing this text pop up with absolutely no sender means the threat isn't just inside the game anymore, it controls the game. Sahil panics. He immediately turns around. And there, standing directly behind his house for just a few agonizing seconds, is Herobrine. Placing the ultimate threat immediately behind Sahil's own established safe space delivers the absolute perfect, terrifying climax. Think about it. The house was supposed to be his sanctuary. By placing the entity right there, the script is telling us that nowhere is safe. That baseline of normalcy we established back on day one, yeah, that's been completely destroyed.
And just as that horror really registers, the screen abruptly cuts to black. There's no epic fight, there's no frantic escape sequence. Utilizing a sudden cut to black like this is an incredibly powerful pacing tool. It denies the viewer any sort of resolution. It just leaves you breathless, completely unsettled, and staring at your own reflection in a dark screen.
So what does this all mean for you? How can you actually use this structure? It's honestly pretty simple. Start with absolute normalcy to set a firm baseline. Then, introduce doubt with brief, distant sightings. Next, leave impossible physical clues to prove the threat is real without actually showing it. And finally, strike with a close proximity climax right where the viewer feels safest. Whether you're creating your own gaming content or writing your own stories, using these exact structural storytelling mechanics is a surefire way to absolutely captivate and terrify your audiences.
The script ends with a massive hook. Right after that cut to black, it leaves us with a burning question. Has Herobrine really returned to this world? And will Sahil actually manage to survive and find the mysterious place where this all began in part 2? It's a brilliant way to ensure we all come rushing back for the next chapter. Thanks so much for joining me to break this explainer down, and I really hope you take these tools and use them to level up your own storytelling.